Good evening, everyone. I'd like to welcome everyone, our guests and media for tonight's meeting. I'd like to call the meeting to order at 5:01 p.m. Start off with the acknowledgement. We acknowledge that the land on which we gather, treaty land, traditional territory of Anishinaabe, Cree, Oji-Cree, Assiniboine, Dakota, and Dene peoples, and homeland of the Métis Nation. We affirm our commitment to moving forward in partnership with Indigenous communities in a spirit of collaboration and reconciliation. I'd like to, first motion, moved by Councillor Sobering, seconded by Deputy Mayor Lachlan. Be it resolved that the regular council meeting agenda be amended as follows, with the one addition, item number 9K, letter of support for a Trails Manitoba grant for Mamawi Park. Call for the, any questions? All in favor? Opposed? All that motion carried. And I'd like to move on. The next motion made by Councillor Sobering and also seconded by Deputy Mayor Lachlan. Be it resolved that council accepts the regular council meeting agenda as amended. Questions? All those in favor indicate. Thank you. That also is carried. The next motion also moved by Councillor Sobering, seconded by Councillor Daly. Be it resolved that council waives the reading and accepts and approves as circulated the minutes of the following meeting, which is the regular council meeting of December 12th, 2022. Questions? All those in favor indicate. Carried. Thank you. And then moved by Councillor Sobering, seconded by Councillor Bellemare. Be it resolved that council now adjourns to hear public meeting or the public hearing as scheduled. Call for that question. All those in favor indicate. Thank you. All right. Council will now commence to hear representations from the applicant and any other persons who wish to make a presentation for the scheduled public hearing under the Planning Act. Anyone who is not yet registered but wishes to make a presentation for the public hearing, please state your name so we can add you to our registration list. I don't think there's anyone. Okay. So it's a variance application for 22 Bushy Place, and James Olinick. James is the applicant, the registered applicant, and he's here. So I'll just carry on. We will now proceed with the public hearing for variance application 12.07.3260-VO-2201/03 for owner Drew Olinick and applicant James Olinick for Lot 4, Plan 2081, DLTO, which is 22 Bushy Place, to vary the front yard setback to allow the construction of an approximately 1,200 square foot single family dwelling with an attached garage in a residential single family zone to comply with the City of Dauphin zoning bylaw. Would the applicant like to speak in favor of the application?
Yes, my wife wants her own place, and we've had that empty lot for 50 years, so we decided to build, and the house is 1,600 square feet.
Okay. Anything else?
Well, just the other driveway encroaches in it. The house, my son's house is already encroaching, and there was no discrepancy, and the house, the lot over is only 3 feet from the property line, and I don't know how they got away with that, but I have to jump the hoops here to make it right. No, I have that.
Okay. Nope.
We'd like to start.
Okay. Fair ball. Does council have any questions?
Okay, I do.
Okay, Councillor Bellemare.
In our package, we had an aerial shot of the property, And yeah, and so I was just talking to our city manager about the source of that aerial shot, because it's very helpful to see what's there and where you want to build it. Now, I'm just being curious here. In the backyard, there's a big rectangle. Is that a garden or what do you have back there? Well, from the aerial shot that we had, it looked like there was. Oh, okay. 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 Yeah. Yeah.
I'm not going to build.
Okay. I'm just being curious, but I thought that. Okay, so that's what I was looking at. But when I look at the aerial map, you can see how what you're proposing fits well for that area. So yeah.
Well, I would like to build even with son's garage. That shortens the drive.
Okay.
Mr. Jerkat said, if I moved it back 5 feet from his garage frontage, we'd probably have no problem. It's just one side, the east side where the end house is. I would like to build up even with their garage because there's a fire hydrant in the tree there. And I cannot put the garage on that side of the lot.
Yeah.
Mr. Jerkat said he moved it there. The hydrant 30 years ago, but now they don't do that. I'm kind of confined to having the garage on that side.
Any other councillors have a question or comment? Thank you. I guess, Sean, unless you're the other person that wants to support this application, I'll just jump by this next point. Sorry, I'm just reading the notes. We're a new guy. Is there any person present who wishes to speak in objection? There isn't, because there's no one else in our meeting tonight. So any other questions then from council? Okay, so then I would like to announce that the representations for the public hearing are now completed, and we had to move to deliberate or decide.
This is a point where council would, if you feel like you want to deliberate and move to the other room to speak about it, or if you feel comfortable voting on it now, we can stay and do the vote.
Cool. Yeah.
Decision.
Fair ball. Okay. Not a problem. So
We don't have to.
Nothing. We just move on. Okay. So then, regular council meeting?
Correct. Yep.
So moved by Councillor Sobering and seconded by Councillor Ray. That be resolved that council now reconvenes to the regular council meeting. Any objections, comments? All in favor? Carried. Thank you. And then moved by Deputy Mayor Loughlin and seconded by Councillor Daly. Be it resolved that the public hearing for variance application 12-07-326200/VO-22-0103 for owner Drew Olenek and applicant James Olenek for lot 4 plan 2081, which is 22 Boucher Place, to vary the front yard setback to allow the construction of an approximately 1,600 square foot single-family dwelling with an attached garage in a residential single-family zone to comply with the City of Dauphin zoning bylaw be now concluded. All those in favor, please indicate. Thank you. Lots of steps, hey? Okay. So finally, moved by Councillor Sobering, seconded by Councillor Ray. Whereas due notice was given with respect to variance application 12-07-326200/VO-22103, and whereas no objections were received to said application, be it resolved that the variance application for owner Drew Olenek and applicant James Olenek for lot 4 plan 2081, 22 Boucher Place, to vary the front yard setback from 9 meters to 4.2 meters to allow for construction of an approximately 1,600 square foot single family garage dwelling with attached garage in a residential single-family zone to comply with the City of Dauphin zoning bylaw be approved with the following conditions. The owner of Lot 3 and Lot 4, Plan 2081, will be required to separate the title to allow the new dwelling to be constructed and become a separate lot. The owner applicant obtains and submits all required permits and documents required by the City of Dauphin for the construction of the proposed dwelling, and all construction shall conform to the Manitoba Building Code. The new dwelling will require new utility connection from the main lines to the building. The owner will be responsible for the cost of that service. And the lot surface drainage cannot adversely affect adjacent property. So that's the full motion. Are there any comments? Any objections? I'd like to call the question then. All those in favor, please indicate. And call that motion carried. We're done. You're approved. So there you go. Yep. Thank you very much. Okay. Thank you. And moved by Councillor Sobring. You're moving a lot of motions, say, Miss. I guess the book was over there first, right? And seconded by Councillor Bellemare. And be it resolved that all items listed under item 5, the consent agenda, be approved as follows and form parts of these minutes. Questions or concerns? All those in favor? We have to read it before I call for the question. Thank you for that gentle reminder. All of it, right? I'm just kidding. You know, okay, so here's the consent agenda report for the regular council meeting of January 9th, 2023. Consent agenda action items, outstanding water accounts added to taxes. Be it resolved that the following water account be added to the taxes. Roll 0226600-000. The address 36A King Street in the amount of $179.07, and that the owner did not pay the current utility bills. And that was recommended by the Director of Finance and the utility clerk. We have a number of filing items: the Association of Manitoba Municipalities, news bulletins from December 9th, December 23rd, 2022, and January the 6th, 2023. And some member advisories, the 2022 Fall Convention Member Survey and the elected municipal officials education sessions. Filing items under the Federation of Canadian Municipalities include the FCM Connect December 20th, 2022 edition, the FCM Voice December 12th and December 19th, and the FCM Communique December 14th. Items from Municipal Relations, the Human Resource Practices and Employment, Canada-Manitoba News Release, Planting 2 Billion Trees Nationally. From the Department of Health, Centralized Emergency Care Service, from the Department of Families, Disability Income Support Program, from Mental Health and Community Wellness, the Funding for Peer Support Program, and from Finance, the 2022-2023 Mid-Year Fiscal and Economic Report. The Manitoba Media Bulletin, the Health Status of Manitobans Report, information from the Mountain View School Division, their News Digest of December 12th, 2022, and the 2021-22 Community Report, the Multi-Material Stewardship Manitoba 2020-23 Municipal Recycling Funding Payments, Parkland Regional Library, the Winter 2022 Report, the Manitoba Emergency Management Quarterly December 2022 Report, Auditor General Manitoba, the Audit of Public Accounts raises concerns. The Dauphin Recreation Services Rec News, January 2023. Parks Canada Information Bulletin from December of 2022. Assiniboine Community College Parkland Campus Program Information, and a report from Riding Mountain National Park regarding restricted activity, all recommended by the mayor and the city manager. So now, be it resolved that, so we have the first motion, that items under the agenda be approved. Call for the question. All those in favor? Thank you. And now moved by Deputy Mayor Loughlin, seconded by Councillor Ray. Be it resolved that council accepts as information the following corporate reports for the January 9th regular council meeting, and that is the city manager report of December 2022.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. It's great to see everybody back in the new year and loving this temperate weather. And I'm going to be touching wood and all that kind of stuff to keep the weather going. In December, it seems like we had a lot of meetings that were, I think, called to wrap up a few things before the year end. I also enjoyed a 2 weeks vacation with my family. Something, I don't think that I keep track of it, but I did put it down this day that I did work from home one day due to inclement weather. Updating a few of the things that we've been talking about. The first one is the Municipal Services Delivery Improvement Plan. So this is a program offered by Manitoba Municipal Relations to help municipalities review their operations and find efficiencies. It's a 3-year program. There were 3 intakes and is fully funded by the province to $120,000 per project. And the work is performed by a third-party consultant. And in this case, they are accounting firms. So earlier in 2022, the City of Dauphin applied to have the fire department reviewed, and we did get that a grant to do that. So we have been partnered with Exchange Chartered Accountants, and their little code that they use is EXG. But I think when they're talking, they call themselves Exchange. You know that Councillor Bellemere, the one with the sequence and stuff like that. Yeah, no, they just call themselves Exchange. They're not some sort of a fancy lettered company. We had our initial meeting on December 1st, which included Manitoba Municipal Relations, Exchange accountants, the deputy fire chief, as the fire chief was unavailable, and myself. And we formulated a statement of work, which was subsequently approved on December 28. And just to update, we had another meeting today, and that was, I guess, our kickoff. First one was the initial meeting, but then we had a kickoff meeting where we actually talked about work and outcomes of the review and whatnot. So it's about 45 minutes this morning, and that was another great meeting. The purpose of the project is to perform an organizational study and operations review of the Dauphin Fire Department with the intent to identify efficiencies and or cost-saving measures. The program indicates that we must make the resulting report public, but we're not obligated to follow any of the recommendations, although I think it's probably a good idea if they find efficiencies to seriously consider using those recommendations. Also, any efficiencies identified where there's cost-saving results will not impact the value that the province provides to an operating grant to our municipality. We do get to keep those cost savings. And I guess between the time that I wrote this report and the meeting formulated pretty quickly at the end of last week, and as I said, we met this morning. So the deadline is March 31st to complete all of the work, and we committed today to keep on top of that deadline. So we should be seeing something within the next 6 to 8 weeks. Next update is regarding Riding Mountain National Park. Also back on December 1st, the mayor, economic development manager, and I met with 2 representatives from the park, Leanne Cooper, who is a superintendent, and Damien Wall, who is the external relations manager. The purpose of the meeting was several things, I think, to introduce the city's new mayor, as well as the representatives from Riding Mountain National Park, because while they've been in their roles, I think the superintendent for almost 2 years now, I think, and Mr. Wall for just close to 1, because of federal restrictions, they weren't allowed to meet in person. So it was great to be able to meet them in person. And then also to discuss ongoing projects and to identify new areas that we can work together. So some of the things that we talked about was the general areas of concern and interest regarding tourism and attraction. Northgate Trails and the status of the development or upgrades of the parks trail system at the north end of the park. A confirmation that Riding Mountain National Park is a 4-season park and supports activities in all 4 seasons. I know handful of years ago or so, they actually publicly announced that they dropped down to a 3-season park and kind of shuttered the doors except for just basic administration and road clearing. So they call themselves a 3-season park, but they're back up to 4. So that was great to hear. We also talked about the status of the agreements between Parks Canada and the City of Dauphin with respect to access of water from Edwards Lake through infrastructure in Edwards Creek. And we talked about partnerships with Indigenous peoples and ideas about truth and reconciliation. We decided to meet several times per year to continue our discussions and to grow these partnerships. And I thought it was a really great meeting. Last thing I'll update about is the Community Safety and Wellbeing Plan. So Manitoba Justice announced back in April of 22 that the City of Dauphin, along with 11 other municipalities and Indigenous communities, would receive assistance from the province to create a Community Safety and Wellbeing Plan. The assistance is in the form of a consultant assigned to the municipality to perform the work to create the plan, approximately, which is about half of the funding, and then hopefully the other half can go to action items identified in the plan. In 2019 and 2020, the province ran a pilot project in the city of Thompson, and they created a workplace or a community safety and wellbeing plan for them, and started to execute their plan. And that program showed enough success that the province is offering it to more communities. I think I've said it several times. While we hoped that the process would start way earlier in 2022, we did have our first meeting on December 15th with Manitoba Justice, the mayor, and 3 council members, as well as Deputy City Manager, myself. We received a presentation from Manitoba Justice regarding the outline of the process. The city was able to update Manitoba Justice on the actions that we've taken to date, which we anticipate will help us with the creation of the plan. Manitoba Justice assured us that the process would be customized to each community, and they would not take a cookie cutter approach and just repeat the same process with each community. So that was really good to hear. They also indicated that our consultant will be working with us basically where we're at, and will not make us redo some of the things that we've done. So that was good to hear. Now, prior to this meeting on December 15th, the mayor, Councillor Daly, and I met with a group, social service providers and community groups in our community to identify some gaps in our supports and to brainstorm how to fill those gaps. So regarding the city's ability to contribute to this local conversation, we updated the group about Manitoba Justice and the Community Safety and Wellbeing Plan, and that we were looking at a leadership role with respect to the plan and how it fits into our community. And so that was a lot of meetings, and we've been waiting so long. So the biggest things are, what are the next steps? And it seems like we're making some baby steps, but there are next steps. So Manitoba Justice is still working on securing the consultants, but we were told that one will be assigned to us within the coming months. They're thinking maybe 2 months or so, maybe February. City has created a repository for organizations to populate with information that they want to share with the group. It's not a public repository, but it is a starting point to get information into the same spot, all into one spot. And the city will host the next meeting with our social service providers and community groups, and we're thinking end of January or beginning of February. And that concludes my report.
Thank you, Charlotte. Any questions or comments from any of the councillors on the report? None? Okay, thank you. I went ahead. Okay, so all those in favor of the report, please indicate. Thank you. Moved by Councillor Daly, seconded by Councillor Bellemare. Be it resolved, the council accepts as information the following corporate report for the January 9th, 2023 regular council meeting from the Deputy City Manager, December 2022. Report is accepted. Questions or Councillor Bellemare?
I just wanted to make a comment. I noticed there were several meetings there with the Humane Society about the problem with, and I'm just really appreciative that those meetings have happened and that hopefully we can move forward on finding some solutions to that. So I just wanted to share that.
Thank you, Councillor Bellemare. Yes, and it's worth noting that to advise residents that we do have a critical explosion in cats. We have an overpopulation of cats right now, and the Humane Society and the vet clinic are quite concerned about this. So we do encourage responsible pet ownership. We encourage residents to get their cats licensed, spayed or neutered, keep them inside, and we encourage them to refrain from feeding stray cats, because often stray cats are actually someone's pets that will not make their way home if they find another food source. So we want to keep the cats in their own home, spayed and neutered and licensed, and try to get on top of this problem of cat overpopulation. So thank you.
And just one more thing, in your report, you included the number of where people can go when there's concerns about animal safety or like animal cruelty. And how would that number be shared? Like, would that be on our website, or how would people find access to that?
So I'm glad you drew attention to that as well, because we do have different streams of communication for different problems. So if someone's experiencing a bylaw violation they'd like to report, like a dog barking or a dog bite or a dog off leash, that would fall under the animal control officer. So that number is on our website, and it is 648-3593. However, if it's something related to animal welfare or an abandoned animal or insufficient shelter, then they are encouraged to phone the province, and that's the animal care line at 1-800-945-8001, and that can be Googled. I believe it's on our website, but I will check to confirm that. And if someone wants to surrender an animal, they need to deal directly with the Humane Society or an animal rescue. So the City of Dauphin does not accept surrendered animals.
Thank you. Any other comments or questions? Lisa, is there anything you wanted to add in your just relative to the report, if there's anything of note?
I thought I'd just maybe highlight council and residents may recall that the city rolled out a 9 p.m. routine campaign in October and November, which encouraged residents to lock up their premises, their vehicles, their homes, put on an exterior light. And the RCMP have provided us with a program effectiveness assessment for the 9 p.m. routine campaign, which has some encouraging outcomes. There was a statistically significant 37% decrease in property crime occurrences during the lockup period. Property crimes continued to decrease by another 35% in the 21 days following the program period, and vehicle theft and theft from motor vehicle occurrences decreased during the program. So these are encouraging outcomes and really point to the efficacy of proactive crime prevention measures whenever resources allow. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thanks very much, Lisa. All right, so all those in favor or indicate? Thank you. Motion by Councillor Ray, seconded by Deputy Mayor Laughlin. Be it resolved that the finance accounts, having been examined by council, be hereby authorized and approved as follows. Check totals numbering 30793 to 30912, 120 total checks for a value of $482,601.87. There were no voided checks in the current range, and there were no voided checks in the past range. And to also include electronic payments in December for a total of $182,245.94. Questions or comments related to that? All those in favor, please indicate. Thank you. Moved by Councillor Sitikilo, seconded by Councillor Daly. Be it resolved that council accepts as information the unaudited financial statements before PSAB adjustments for the period ending October 31st, 2022, including the general fund balance sheet and general fund income statement, and the utility fund balance sheet and utility fund income statement. Questions or comments? All those in favor? Carried, thank you. Moved by Deputy Mayor Loughlin, seconded by Councillor Chikilo. Be it resolved that Council accepts as information the reserve report for October 2022. Questions, concerns? All those in favor? Thank you. Moved by Deputy Mayor Loughlin, seconded by Councillor Sobering. Be it resolved that Council accepts as information the budget variance analysis for October 2022. Questions or comments? All those in favor? Thank you. Moved by Councillor Ray and seconded by Deputy Mayor Loughlin. Be it resolved that Council accepts as information the following Protective Services report for the January 9th regular Council meeting by the Bylaw Enforcement Officer for December of 2022. Any questions or comments? All those in favor, please indicate. Thank you. I guess I should be asking for those opposed, right? But when everybody's hand goes up. Moved by Councillor Ray, seconded by Councillor Daly. Be it resolved that Council accepts as information the following Protective Services report for the January 9th, 2023 regular meeting. That's from the Animal Control Officer of December 2022. Questions or comments? All those in favor, please indicate. Thank you. And moved by Councillor Daly, seconded by Deputy Mayor Loughlin. Be it resolved that Council accepts as information the minutes and reports from the following committees. The Intermountain Watershed District, the regular board meeting from October the 19th. The Dauphin Neighborhood Renewal Corporation, the regular board meetings from November the 8th and November the 30th. The Fort Dauphin Museum, regular board meeting minutes from November the 2nd. The manager's report of December 7th. The profit and loss budget and actual from January to December of 2022, and the balance sheet previous year comparison as of December 7th, 2022. From the Parkland Regional Library, their regular board meeting minutes of November 28th. From the Dauphin Public Library, their regular board meeting minutes of November the 29th. From the Dauphin and District Handyvan Association, their regular board meeting minutes of December the 13th. And from Dauphin Rec Services, their board meeting from December the 14th of 2022. Any questions or comments? Seeing none, call for the question. All those in favor? Anyone opposed? None. Carried. Thank you. And moved by Councillor Chikilo and seconded by Councillor Ray. Be it resolved that Council accepts as information correspondence dated December 15th, 2022 from Allison Moss, the Director of the Parkland Regional Library, outlining plans to commission local Ojibwe artist Patrick Paul to install artwork interpreting the 7 sacred teachings on the front exterior of the Dauphin Public Library. Further, be it resolved that Council looks forward to the unveiling of this project to the community in the spring of 2023 and appreciates the significance of the artwork in cultivating interconnectedness and healing as a contribution to the ongoing discourse on truth and reconciliation. Any comments or questions? Councillor Bellemare is on the committee.
Well, just that we're really looking forward to this, and there's an artist set up there who has been commissioned to do this, and he's got some great ideas. They're also going to be doing some lighting on this, which is really good to have the extra lighting. And I think we've talked about lighting before at this corner. I'm just directing this to our Director of Operations. So what we have there right now sort of meets the standards, right? And this is going to be extra lighting. I think that's happening.
Are you speaking of street lighting or
yeah,
building
the street lighting is.
But yeah.
Okay.
Okay, any other questions or comments? I'd like to then call for the question. All those in favor, please indicate. Opposed? None? Carried. Thank you. Moved by Deputy Mayor Laughlin, seconded by Councillor Sobring. Whereas the province of Manitoba's Building Sustainable Communities Grant Program provides a contribution of 50% of eligible project costs up to $75,000 and up to $300,000 for large capital projects that help to build thriving sustainable communities in Manitoba. And whereas the Dauphin District Handy Van Association provides an essential service that meets the transportation needs of persons who require specialized transit services in and around the Dauphin area, be it resolved that Council accepts as information correspondence from Lori Bremner, Coordinator and Director of Finance for the Dauphin District Handy Van Association, requesting a letter of support regarding the organization's application to the Building Sustainable Community Grant Program for funding to purchase a much-needed new van. Further be it resolved that Council appreciates the Dauphin District Handy Van Association's commitment to providing safe, reliable, and affordable transportation services for the mobility impaired, and approves a letter supporting the organization's application to the Building Sustainable Community Grant Program for funding to purchase this van. Any questions or comments from Council? Call for the question. All those in favor? Opposed? None? Carried. Thank you. And okay. It's brought to my attention that we have a number of upcoming applications that are all similar in support for the Building Sustainable Community Grants from Council. So I will not read each and every application it's in entirety because they're all similar. I will just indicate the different organizations and the motions made by Council, and then we'll get a little bit of efficiency, I hope. So moved by Deputy Mayor Laughlin, seconded by Councillor Daly. This is to provide the same letter of support for Dauphin's Country Fest, who has been leasing Selo Ukrainu venue since 1990, and for their annual country music festival. So be it resolved that Council accepts as information correspondence from Brenda Basaraba, the Executive Director or Executive Administrator of Dauphin's Country Fest, requesting a letter of support for this grant program for funding to renovate the existing VIP balcony seating on the west side of the main stage amphitheater at the site to create an exclusive accessible space for sponsors or large groups holding any event at the festival site. And further be it resolved that Council appreciates Country Fest's work in generating festival tourism in our area, and we provide a letter of support in their application to this grant program for funding to renovate the west side of the amphitheater. Questions or comments from anyone? All those in favor? Opposed? Carried. Hearing on then, moved by Councillor Ray, seconded by Councillor. Another sustainable application. Be it resolved that the Council accepts as information correspondence dated December 19th from Kim Parks, Chair of the South Parkland Healthy Child Coalition, requesting a letter supporting their application to the Building Sustainable Community Grant Program for funding to further enhance the indoor playground at Parkland Crossing by installing a sink to address hygiene and sanitation concerns in the space, and also to showcase a mural painted by local Ojibwe artist Patrick Paul, representing community identity and pride. Further be it resolved that Council appreciates the South Parkland Coalition's investment in a space that will support healthy child development and better meet the needs of families in our community, and we approve this letter supporting their application. Any further comments or questions? All those in favor? Thank you. Moved by Deputy Mayor Laughlin and seconded by Councillor Daly. Be it resolved that council accepts as information correspondence from Ryan Vanderhayden, General Manager of Dauphin Rec Services, requesting a letter supporting the Rec Services application to the grant program for funding for upgrades to Credit Union Place ice plant, including replacing the glycol that is mixed with oil to act as an insulator, replacing 2 compressors, and repairing and upgrading the oil cooler. Further be it resolved that council appreciates that these upgrades to the Credit Union Place ice plant will limit the risk of downtime while increasing the plant's capacity to heat and cool, and approve this letter of support. Further questions or comments from anyone? All those in favor? Opposed? Thank you. Carried. Lots of applications. Good for us. And moved by Councillor Bellemare, seconded by Deputy Mayor Loughlin. Be it resolved that council accepts the information correspondence dated January 5th, 2023 from ICT Manager requesting a letter supporting the City of Dauphin's application to the grant program for funding for the repointing and repairing of all brick mortar on the exterior of the Watson Art Center. Further be it resolved that council appreciates that this brick repointing project at the Art Center will help to ensure this designated provincial heritage building will remain usable for many years, and approves this letter supporting the application. Any comments or concerns? All those in favor? Opposed? None. Carried. Thank you. Moved by Councillor Ray, seconded by Councillor Daly. Whereas the province of Manitoba's Heritage Resource Conservation Grant Program supports projects that demonstrate a commitment to the conservation and long-term sustainability of heritage properties legally protected under the Heritage Resources Act, be it resolved that council accepts as information correspondence dated January 5th from the Information and Communications Technology Manager requesting a certified resolution in support of the City of Dauphin's application to the Heritage Resources Conservation Grant Program for funding for the repointing and repairing of all brick mortar to the exterior of the Watson Art Center. Questions or comments? All those in favor, please indicate. Carried. Thank you. Moved by Deputy Mayor Loughlin, seconded by Councillor Sobring. Be it resolved that council accepts as information email correspondence dated January 3rd, 2023 from Councillor Daly requesting permission to attend the Disaster Management Conference from January 25th to 27th, 2023 in Winnipeg, Manitoba. Be it resolved that council approves this request and authorizes all costs to be borne by the City of Dauphin. Questions or comments regarding this resolution? All those in favor, please indicate. Anyone? Thank you. Motion is carried. Moved by Councillor Stakilo, seconded by Councillor Deputy Mayor Loughlin. Whereas the Parkland Chamber of Commerce will be hosting their 2023 lunch series, Chamber Appreciation Lunch and Chamber Celebration Night, be it resolved that council approves the purchase of tickets for the mayor, councillors, and senior staff to attend the 2023 Park Chamber Appreciation Lunch and Chamber Celebration Night, with all costs to be borne by the city. Questions or comments? All those in favor? Thank you. Motion is carried. Moved by Councillor Sobring, seconded by Deputy Mayor Loughlin. Whereas the City of Dauphin has leased office space in Unit D of the CNR Place at 101 First Avenue Northwest to Shared Health, 2-year lease from April 1st, 2020 to March 31st, 2022, followed by a 1-year lease extension to March 31st, 2023. Be it resolved that council accepts as information correspondence dated December 12th from Craig Dirksen, Executive Director, Capital and Facilities Management from Shared Health, and a memorandum dated January 4th from the Deputy City Manager advising that due to a change in operations, With most staff working remotely, Shared Health will no longer require this space and has opted to terminate the lease effective March 31st, 2023. Further be resolved that council authorizes a termination of lease to be signed and sealed by the city manager on behalf of the city of Dauphin and acknowledges that city administration will prepare the Unit D office space at CNR Place for marketing and promotion to secure a new tenant. Questions or comments? All those in favor? Opposed? None carried. Thank you. Moved by Councillor Ray, seconded by Councillor Bellemare. Whereas in Resolution 2021-445, at the regular council meeting of August 9th, 2021, council authorized the purchase of a new refuse collection truck from Peterbilt, Manitoba for a cost of $341,973.32 plus taxes, with the truck to have been available to the city of Dauphin in approximately 18 months. Be resolved that council accepts as information a memorandum dated January 3rd, 2023 from the Director of Public Works and Operations advising that supply chain issues and extreme increases in pricing and surcharges have resulted in an adjusted purchase price of $416,011.89 for the new truck from Peterbilt, Manitoba, reflecting an increase of $74,038.57 to be 50-50 with Peterbilt, leaving an increase of $37,017.68 and a total cost to the city of $378,991 plus applicable taxes. Further be it resolved that council authorizes an additional $37,017.68 for the purchase of the new truck from Peterbilt for a total price of $378,991 plus taxes, with the funds to be drawn from the Machinery and Equipment Reserve Fund. Any additional information or comments regarding this motion?
October this year. Yeah, they have a slot on hold for us now that they've been able to get. It's been a mess for everybody in there. Yeah, so we're expecting to see it this year now.
So, and based on just what I've been hearing as well, that this is the best possible option that we could hope for, and that it actually is.
Yeah, at this
Considering
point
all
in
the
time,
variables,
it's the best solution we could see. We did some just verbal quotes from another supplier, and it was $120,000 increase for the same unit. So,
okay.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Thank you. Call for the question then. All those in favor, please indicate. Anyone opposed? Seeing none. Motion is carried. Thank you. Thanks for your work on that, Mike. Moved by Deputy Mayor Loughlin, seconded by Councillor Ray. Whereas the City of Dauphin's fill compactor has logged approximately 12,000 hours of operation and is in need of significant engine and transmission repairs, and replacement of the unit would cost upwards of $1 million. Be it resolved that council accepts as information 2 repair quotes from Tormont Cat in Brandon and a memorandum dated January 5th, 2023 from the Director of Public Works and Operations recommending that the landfill compactor be sent to Tormont for an engine replacement and potential rebuild of the transmission for a total cost of $143,362.69 plus taxes, which should extend the useful life of this equipment for at least 10 additional years. Be it resolved that council authorizes the Director of Public Works and Operations to proceed with the above quoted landfill compactor repairs as a maximum capital expenditure of $143,362.69 plus taxes, with the funds to be drawn from the Machinery and Equipment Reserve Fund. Any comments or questions? Seeing none, call for the question. All those in favor? Anyone opposed? Motion is carried. Again, thank you, Mike, for your work on that file. Moved by Councillor Bellemare, seconded by Councillor Ray. Whereas the City of Dauphin utility staff collect water usage data for billing purposes utilizing a belt clip antenna, which amplifies the emission of radio signals from the meter units. Be it resolved that Council accepts as information a memorandum dated January 6, 2023 from the Director of Public Works advising that the city's existing aging belt clip antenna used for collection of water usage data is in need of replacement and recommending the purchase of a new unit for a cost of $9,531.45 plus applicable taxes. Be it resolved that Council agrees with the recommendation from the Director of Public Works and Operations and authorizes the purchase of a new belt clip antenna for a cost of $9,531.45 plus taxes, with funds to be drawn from the utility reserve. Questions or comments? Question, Councillor Bellemare.
Just a question, like with the improved technology, are there any other features, like is the range large, wider, or whatever? Will it make any difference in the operations?
No, the intent is just that we still have to go property to property. This unit amplifies the signal that everyone's the meter in every household emits, and it projects that signal into a another unit that does all of our storage, and then that's converted by our utility clerk to the billing amounts.
Thank you. I'd like to call for the question then. All those in favor? Anyone opposed? Seeing none, carried. Thank you. Moved by Deputy Mayor Loughlin, seconded by Councillor Daly. Be it resolved that pursuant to bylaw 03-2012, being a bylaw of the City of Dauphin to establish a tax sale contractor position, Council appoints Tax Service Inc. to contract tax sales for the City of Dauphin. Further be it resolved that Council appoints Donna Zincu, General Manager of Tax Service Inc., as tax sale contractor for the City of Dauphin for the calendar year 2023. Questions or comments? Call for the question. Thank you. All those in favor? Thanks. Opposed? None. Moved by Councillor Daly, seconded by Deputy Mayor Loughlin. Whereas Section 365, bracket 2 of the Municipal Act states that Council may in any year designate the immediately preceding year or an earlier year as the year for which properties, the taxes in respect of which are in arrears for the year must be offered for sale by auction to recover the tax arrears and costs. Be it resolved that Council designates 2021 as the tax sale year for the City of Dauphin, which will recover 2020 and prior years' arrears and costs. Questions or comments? Seeing none, all those in favor, please indicate. Thank you. Opposed? None. Carried. Moved by Deputy Mayor Loughlin, seconded by Councillor Ray. Whereas Council designated 2021 as the tax sale year, and whereas properties where taxes are unpaid for the year 2020 may be eligible for tax sale, be it resolved that the tax sale for the 2021 tax sale year be held on November 15th, 2023 at 10 a.m. Questions or comments? All those in favor? Thank you. Pardon? I just was wondering, like, about 9:30, but no, I'm just sorry. Just a lot of motions today. Moved by Councillor Ray, seconded by Councillor Daly. Whereas Section 372 of the Municipal Act states that a municipality may set any terms or conditions for the sale of a property to be sold for taxes and may set a reserve bid in the amount of the tax arrears and costs in respect of the property. Be it resolved that for the designated 2021 tax sale year, council sets the reserve bid for each property eligible for tax sale at an amount equivalent to the tax arrears and costs of the property. Questions or comments? None. All those in favor, please indicate. Opposed? None. Carried. Thank you. Moved by Deputy Mayor Loughlin, seconded by Councillor Bellemare. Whereas Section 35, bracket 1 of the Municipal Assessment Act states that council shall each year by resolution appoint a board of revision consisting of not fewer than 3 members, some or all of whom may be members of council. And whereas Section 35, bracket 2 of the Municipal Act states that council shall appoint a member of a board appointed under subsection 1 to serve as the presiding officer of the board. And whereas Section 35, bracket 4 of the Municipal Act, Assessment Act states that council shall appoint a person to act as secretary of the board appointed under subsection 1. Be it resolved that the 2024 Board of Revision shall consist of all council members of the City of Dauphin, a representative of the Parkland Chamber of Commerce, and a representative of the Dauphin Economic Development Tourism Committee. Further be it resolved that council appoints the mayor, or in his stead the deputy mayor, to act as chair of the board. And further be it resolved that council appoints the deputy city manager, or in her stead the city manager, to act as the secretary of the board. Questions or comments? None. All those in favor? Thank you. Motion carried. Moved by Councillor Bellemare. All right, you're in this resolution. I'm sorry about that. Councillor Ray. Seconded by Deputy Mayor Loughlin. Whereas the Trails Grant will advance trail systems and enhance the environmental perspective of trail users through intentionally directed educational experiences devoted to the responsible use and conservation of natural resources. Be it resolved that council accepts as information correspondence dated January 9th, 2023 from Councillor Bellemare requesting a letter supporting the Mamawi Park Organizing Committee supervised by Dauphin Rec Services in their application for a trails grant for Manitoba funding to develop a trail around the perimeter of Mamawi Park. Further be it resolved that council eagerly anticipates the development of Mamawi Park as a key cultural and recreation facility in our community and approves a letter supporting the organizing committee's applications for Trails Grant for Manitoba funding to make their Mamawi Park perimeter trail project possible. Any further questions, comments? All those in favor? Opposed? Carried. Moved by Deputy Mayor Loughlin, seconded by Councillor Stakilo. Be resolved that bylaw 11-2022, being a bylaw of the City of Dauphin to establish a mitigation preparedness reserve fund, be now read a second time. Questions or comments? Seeing none, all those in favor? Opposed? None. Carried. And then moved by Deputy Mayor Loughlin, seconded by Councillor Stakilo. Be resolved that bylaw 11-2022, being a bylaw of the City of Dauphin to establish a mitigation preparedness reserve fund, be now read a third time and be signed and sealed by the mayor and the city manager. As this is a recorded vote, we'll just ensure that everyone is in favor. Councillor Sobering, Councillor Loughlin, or Deputy Mayor Loughlin. I'm sorry about that. Deputy Mayor Loughlin. Councillor Stakilo, good. Thank you. Right. Councillor Daly. And Mayor Bosiak, that would be me. And so that motion is carried. Thank you for that. Moved by Deputy Mayor Loughlin, seconded by Councillor Stakilo. Be it resolved that council accepts as information the invitations listed below. Invitations from the Parkland Chamber of Commerce to attend their lunch series from January 10th through concluding on May 9th. From Municipal Relations, a virtual training sessions on January 11th and 19th. And from Manitoba Emergency Measures Organization, their 2023 Municipal Emergency Workshop on February the 7th, 2023, for the Emergency Measures Committee. There are no community events to include. Any questions, comments, or additions to that motion? Seeing none, all those in favor? Opposed? Carried. And moved by Councillor Ray, seconded by Councillor Bellemare. Be it resolved that council accepts as information the council's reports for the regular council meeting of January 9th, 2023. I can't remember where I started. Councillor Daly, since you look eager, I'm going to get you to start the ball rolling.
Okay, thank you, Mayor Bozak. Most of my activity has been spent over at 37 3rd Avenue Northwest with Dauphin Neighborhood Renewal, getting the meal program up and running. I've volunteered a few evenings, and it's been very interesting. It's and the warm safe space as well has been running full time. I spoke with Brenda Winters just late this afternoon to get some updated stats. Since they opened, they have had people there every night. They have about 3 regular homeless people, the same folks there every night. They have not have more than 10, but they have never had less than one there. There's lots of glitches and things to work through. There's security issues and things that we have to look into and sort of try to do better. But it's going well. There hasn't been any major issues. Staffing, we're working with DNRC. We're trying to work on gaining more staffing. Like we've said before, we can't volunteer our way out of these kind of issues. DNRC is currently doing a breakfast club 5 days a week, Monday to Friday. The Hero Club's looking after that. It's a good program. And now they're doing meal service 6 nights a week, Monday through to including Saturday. So Sunday is the only day that there's no meal service, but the warm safe space is open 8 to 7. We are working also to cover those hours from 4:30 till 8. So currently the meals are sort of set from 5 till 7, which kind of is goofy because then it's an hour gap between the warm safe space opening. So DNRC is trying to work with Northwest Métis Council. We're trying to share how we can get enough staff to open from 4:30 through till 8 o'clock, so there's no disruption of service. We'll figure it out. We'll get there, but it will take a little bit of an effort. The other thing we would like, if I could ask council on your own personal platforms, your own personal media sites, if you could mention this kind of information every once in a while so people are aware of it. We think everybody knows, but they don't. And if you feel like getting involved, maybe get a hold of Amanda or Hope Meyer over there and volunteer even one evening a month. That's sort of where we're starting with people to try and, because it's tough to ask people to, it's not, you can't just ask anybody to volunteer in a situation like that. So, but it might be interesting if you had the time to sort of see how it all functions. That's it for me. Thanks.
Thank you, Councillor Daly. Councillor Ray, are you ready? Or I was going to flip over to the left side of the room, but
I'm ready to go.
Okay, you're ready to go.
Thank you, Mayor Bozak.
Councillor Ray.
December 12th, I attended the Board of Revisions meeting in the afternoon as well as our regular council meeting in the evening. December 14th was our Dauphin Rec Committee meeting at the Rec Complex. Prior to the meeting, we were given a tour of the facility's pumps, compressors, chillers, and boilers, which I found to be very interesting and informative. I would also like to congratulate Wayne McIntyre, who retired after more than 30 years of service at Dauphin Rec. His hard work and expertise will be definitely missed. Finally, along with the other members of the Community Safety and Wellbeing Committee, I attended a Zoom meeting with Manitoba Justice on December 15th, and that concludes my report.
Thank you, Councillor Ray. Councillor Bellemare?
Thank you. On December the 13th, I attended the Watson board meeting and they did a bit of Christmas socializing afterwards. And on the 15th, I attended the Community Safety and Wellbeing planning meeting that's been referenced. And for community events, I know next Christmas is a long way off, but I just wanted to mention that Peter Nadolny, who is our coordinator at the Watson, he did a really neat performance. He read the Christmas Carol, A Christmas Carol by Charles Dickens. And Peter has considerable acting experience and he did an excellent job. And he's planning on making this a annual Christmas tradition. So, you know, just something to sort of keep in the back of your mind for next year. And I hope everyone has been enjoying the great weather and has been taking advantage of the opportunity to be active outdoors. And that concludes my report.
Thank you, Councillor Bellemare. Councillor Sticalo, are you? Yep, there you are.
Yes,
You ready to go?
Yep. Thank you, Mr. Mayor. December 12th, I was in attendance for the regular council meeting. And then on December 14th, I too was in attendance for the rec board meeting. I've been on the rec board for a number of years, and I know Councillor Ray has mentioned it, getting a facility tour. I too caught that tour, and it's the first time I've had that, and it actually was quite interesting and informative, because there tends to be a lot of maintenance and issues with the chillers and the compressors, and we hear about it all the time in the meetings, and don't have a clue really, you know, a visual on what they're talking about. But now we do, so we have no excuse there. Other than that, that's about it for me. So that concludes my report. Thanks.
Thank you, Councillor Sticalo. Deputy Mayor Loughlin?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. For myself, regular council meeting on the 12th of December. As mentioned, it was a Christmas break, so just a couple other things in there. I attended a few Kings games, Clippers games before Christmas. Good to see the Clippers win that Christmas Cup over Neepawa right before the break on the 22nd. Looking forward to getting back into the routine. Got a few committee meetings this week, which includes the Chamber of Commerce and the RM liaison. Also wanted to mention, obviously early here, but it is a provincial election year, so I'm excited to hear what the candidates in our area have in mind when it comes to things that will help improve our community. Hopeful to have get-togethers with them in the new year as well. And that does it for my report.
Thank you very much, Deputy Mayor Loughlin. Councillor Sobering?
Thank you, Mayor Bosiak. I did attend also the December 12th regular meeting, Board of Revisions. I attended a Dauphin and District Handyvan meeting January 3rd and followed up with a subcommittee meeting on sourcing out a new van for the fleet. And other than that, it was very quiet, seemingly, and I got to enjoy riding Mountain National Park. I did some snowshoeing in Moon Lake and some skiing at Crawford and Broadleaf and Northgate into Edwards, and it was just a great experience to have that right next door over the holiday season. Every time I was out there, it was very, very busy, and especially in the Northgate parking lot, I always see new faces from outside the community. So I just thought that's worth noting. So congratulations to the derailers and Northgate for making such an attraction, and it seemed like it was well utilized over the holidays.
Thank you, Councillor Sobering. I guess you're not a councillor, but how about our student representative, Emma?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. So I too was in attendance for the regular council meeting on December 12th. Since then, I haven't attended any meetings. School was out just a short week after that. So school has just commenced for the year of 2023. So everything is just starting up again. Our student council will have our first meeting on January 11th of this year. That's it for my report. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I won't add anything of particular note, except that In hearing everyone's engagement, the last couple of council meetings in regards to attendance at meetings, one of the things that I'm grateful to hear, and hopefully it will continue, is the notion of the effectiveness of council's involvement in these committees, both our internal committees, our external committees, and other organizations that we're associated with. And so part of my hope for all of us as council members is to bring a value add component to all of our participation with these groups, both to council and our community's point of view, but also to add benefit to the organizations that we're actually participating in. So I'm hopeful that as we continue to get comfortable with all of our committee assignments and our involvements with these organizations, that we'll be willing to share the information regarding the activities occurring at these particular groups, and so that we can become better aware of where we really need to focus our attention and our support. And conversely, or in that same notion, consider whether or not there is a reasonable requirement for the city to be involved, and to what degree. So, I appreciate our enthusiasm for getting involved with all these groups and organizations, but also I'd like us to have that discussion to determine effectiveness and efficiency in the time spent and what the value add on the back end of all of these engagements are. And then on a personal note, I too would like to echo what Councillor Sobering was saying. I've been riding my bike every day since Christmas. And so I've been casually mentioning to staff and other members in City Hall here that we're going to have an informal, possibly a formal meeting on fat bikes up at Northgate. And it's just been an amazing combination of events or factors with weather and conditions, snow conditions, and the facility itself, that it's just been an absolutely amazing early season. And I am gonna, the invitation will be, this will be entirely a public affair, and so Sean Bailey will be with us. And as a biker himself, he will absolutely by being on a fat bike. I can tell by, yes, absolutely. But that concludes my remarks as well. So I'd like to ask for a motion or for a call for the question to accept all those reports as presented. Thank you. And motion is carried. And finally, one more, moved by Councillor Ray, seconded by Councillor Sobering. Be it resolved that the council meeting be recessed at 6:14